All right, here we go. Grant Cardone, welcome back to Vlad TV.
Always good to be with you, my brother.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, before we go on with anything else, you have a new reality show coming out called Undercover Billionaire on Discovery Channel. So, actually, season 2 of that show.
Yeah.
Okay, so first of all, tell me about the show overall because I'm not very familiar
Okay,
with it.
so look, Discovery's got Gold Rush, they got Alaska, they got they're known for all these kind of outdoor shows, but they've been more entrepreneurial lately. They added a show last year or maybe 2019 called Undercover Billionaire. Guy named Glenn Stern, super successful guy. He's basically a king in the mortgage business, made hundreds of millions of dollars there. And they went to him a couple years ago, and said, "Hey, if we drop you off in a city with $100, an old truck, could you turn it into $1 million business in 90 days?" He took the challenge. They call this a challenge. Seems like insanity to me, but the dude gets dropped off in Glen area. I watched the show. I thought it was freaking awesome. I'm like, bro, if this is real, if this dude is actually doing what we're seeing him do, you got to be a little crazy, and you better be a badass to do this show. So the same week I'm watching the show, Discovery calls me and says, "Hey, we have a list of people that we would like to interview to do the show." And they said, "Look, could you do it? Number one, could you? And number two, would you?" Because they're completely different. And I said, "Could I do what?" And they said, "If we drop you off in a city you've never been to, we take away your name, we take away your social media, take away your credit cards and your cash. Can't use any of your contacts. Could you turn $100 into $1 million business?" And I'm like, "How long do I have?" And they're like, 90 days. I said, "Why do I need 90 days? Goddamn, I don't need 90 days. Shit, I can't even say 90 without a draw." And then the second question was, would you do it? Which is a bigger question. It's not can I, could I? By the way, I'll tell you, I completely underestimated how difficult this would be. But we can talk more about that in a second. But the other issue was, would I do it? Would I take the time away from my business? I run 7 little companies here. They make a lot of money. I mean, I do pretty well for myself. I got the real estate. This is all pre-COVID. This is January 2020. We had our big conference getting ready to pop off. And, these reality shows, they don't pay you any money, Vlad, as you know. Like, I think they gave me 10 grand or something, some stupid number. For 90 days of my time. So you don't do it for the money. The reason I did it was because the number one question people ask me is, "Bro, if you didn't have anything, what would you do?" Number one question. It doesn't matter whether I'm in Dubai or Detroit. If you lost everything, what would you do? And this show gave me an opportunity to show people, rather than tell people, rather than write a book about it, rather than do a webinar about it. I was able to show people, drop me off in a city. If I could speak the language, by the way, I don't even need the $100. Keep the damn 100. They're like, "What do you mean, man? We got $100 for you." I said, "Keep it. I don't even need it." They said, "No, that's part of the deal. We got to give you 100. They gave me $100, an old truck, and dropped me off in a city I've never been to. It was right after I left interviewing Kevin Hart. So I was on the high of my life, spending time with all these freaking celebrities at our growth conference with 12,000 people. And I leave there. They drop me off in a city. It's 15 degrees. They give me my $100, take away my phone, give me a new empty phone, a piece of shit truck. And when I say a piece of shit truck, bro, I'm telling you, the truck scared me. No heat. Okay. I hate cold weather. I have no place to sleep, no food to eat, no water, and the sun's going down in 3 hours. And every day, I'm less one more day. So it's TikTok. So I went in really confident, thinking I'm gonna crush this, I'm gonna kill this. Dude, this thing broke me down so many different ways. I'm anti-medication, but I'm actually thinking about maybe I need something to get me over this event because it was brutal.
Okay, well, I get offered reality shows every so often, and my thinking was always doing this is going to take so much time away from my real business and all the employees that depend on me and the viewers and everything else like that, that I just can't, it'll be a net loss for me, regardless of how much promotion or whatever else. So I've always turned it down. Now, you can't tell me with someone who runs the number of businesses that you run with the amount of money that's running through the business that you did not take some level of loss by taking 3 months off.
Well, of course. I mean, you're going to lose something. I'm not going to be there. I'm going to lose the leadership. But look, I went into this underestimating. I figured, hey, I'm going to be able to do this and do this other thing at night. I'll be able to have a meeting with my guys at night. I'll be able to keep my family going. I was really worried about my family more than my business because my business is going good. We have 500 employees here. The real estate takes care of me. My brand's expanding. So, I got some really good people around me that can run things. So I figured, hey, I'm going to go there for 90 days. I'm going to kick this thing in the ass. I thought, man, I'll probably be back in 45 days. Goal accomplished, crushed it, knocked it out of the park. It didn't quite go like that. I'll tell you right now, it's like some people are going to be really disappointed in what I did, and some people are going to be really impressed.
Okay. And I guess you caught COVID along the way?
So what happened was, and again, I underestimated everything, right? So I go there and before I went, I called this Glenn Stearns guy and I just said, Glenn, what took you so long? He's like, what do you mean? I said, well, do you have any tips? But I said, before you give me the tips, why did it take you so long to do this? And he's like, what are you talking about? I said, dude, I'm going to go there. I'm going to do this in 45 days and I'm out of there. I really went into it. I told my kids, I said, I'll have you out there in a week. Okay, the city they dropped me off in, when we flew in, Vlad, I called my wife 30 minutes after I got in town. I said, there's no way they're coming here. Okay? I said, I have no place to sleep. I don't know where I'm getting my next meal. Okay? And I stole the blanket off my plane because I realized how cold it was that night and I didn't have the proper clothes. So, when I asked Glenn, I said, what took you so long? He was laughing. He later chuckled to me. He's like, you're an idiot or you're crazy because, bro, this is the hardest thing you're ever going to do in your life. And he was 100% accurate on that. This was the most difficult thing I've ever done. I was there 2 weeks before I made any money. And then COVID shut the country down. So I was there almost 14 days, getting a little bit of momentum, getting a little traction, starting to get some direction on the kind of business I was going to start. And bang, the whole production got shut down. And so I was sent back to Miami. I was crushed because I couldn't continue. And then when I came back, I think 3 months later, they called me back. My hair had grown out. I shaved my head so I can kind of stay undercover. And by the time I got back, they tested me when I came back from Miami. I was getting ready to hit the ground, terrified to go back into this deal. If it wasn't for my wife, I wouldn't have gone back. And they started testing me for the COVID and found out I was positive. So, then that disrupted it all over again.
Okay, how bad was your case?
Well, first of all, let me just say that, I think I've had COVID twice. And I also had altitude sickness there 3 times. They sent me to Pueblo, Colorado, and I don't like altitude a lot. So whether it was the altitude sickness or the COVID, the first time I got COVID, it was awful, dude. I mean, it was terrible. I lost 2 days of my life. I don't even remember the days. I just know it was a Monday and a Tuesday, and they were erased. Then the second time I got it, it was very flu-like, right? But it disrupted me because I'm trying to build a new business under a new name. I can't be me. I cannot explain to anybody, hey guys, by the way, we're shooting a show here, right? Like, give me a break. So I'm sick. I'm contaminated, probably like a lot of people, feeling like, oh, I'm contaminated. Nobody's going to want to touch me. Nobody's going to want to do business with me. I'm going to lose all my contracts. I'm going to lose my momentum. I'm going to lose confidence in the people in this new town. But the altitude sickness, dude, like the altitude would take me 2 weeks to get over.
Mm. Okay. But the COVID itself wasn't that bad this time around?
The first round of COVID was terrible. The second round was not so bad. So maybe I'm getting used to it.
Okay.
But
Okay.
look, here's the deal. Like when I started this thing all cocky saying I'm going to kill this, this was before 40 million people were out of work. It was before we had the biggest economic contraction since the Great Depression. And they sent me to a city that's been beat up for 50 years. So now I had to go back to a city not only that's been beat up for 50 years, but a city that is now post-COVID. Their unemployment was at 15% in the city, in a town that's already beat up with an average income of about $22,000 a year.
Mm.
And I got to build $1 million business during COVID.
Okay. And ultimately, did you do it?
Well, I can say this. Okay? I did not hit my target.
Okay. So you did not make $1 million.
I said I did not hit my target.
Okay. All right. We'll have to watch and see then.
Some people will be disappointed, and some people are going to be like, that dude, that's the baddest man on planet Earth.
There you go. All right.
Because let me just say this. Sometimes it's not about hitting the target either. You know, it's like going into this thinking, oh, dude, the American dream is real. It's real for anybody, no matter what's going on. I mean, I'm the guy out there for 25 years been shouting, regardless of your handicaps, regardless of the obstacles, no matter what's going on, with the right attitude and the right strategy, you can do anything. This show, which by the way, I think almost nothing of reality TV shows because I think most of them are scripted bullshit. This was real. I don't know about the other shows. I don't know what else Discovery does. I know because I did this show. Dude, this was an unproduced show. Everything you see happen on here happened. Everything you see me go through, I went through. I am not an actor. And when I became this person, not Grant Cardone, but this person with no money, no credit, no connections, I realized very quickly how difficult it is to make anything a reality in this country. Pre-COVID, forget COVID. You asked me a question about how COVID affected me. Everybody got sick from COVID. Financially, everybody was negatively impacted and is still being impacted from this thing. Different than most Americans, though, I didn't get the PPP loan. You know, when you're doing a show, you can't say, hey, by the way, government, send me some money. I'm on a show. So I didn't have the benefit of any help from the government. And I still had to, and frankly, like I thought about just bailing on the thing. Because the one thing, once I started doing this thing, the one thing that I regretted was my family, being away from my kids. And number two, the other thing was, you know what, if this thing blows up in my face, it's going to ruin my brand. Because I'm out there, doing the gung-ho 10X, you can do anything, and selling books and seminars and webinars and events and advice and, masterminds and advising companies. I'm like, if this thing blows up in my face and I can't pull it off, it's going to cost me more than $1 million. It's going to cost me hundreds of millions.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's very true. Well,
so I had to figure out how not to hit my target and still look good.
Right. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing this show, man.